Hello, this is Adrian Baker from Agile Horizons, and on this short video today, I want to talk to you about how we can apply Agile to non-IT environments. As we know, Agile and Scrum have been very successfully adopted by many IT teams across the world. But what about non-IT teams? What about HR, about finance, about marketing, etc.? How can these sort of teams benefit from Agile practices? So what we're going to do on this short video is just look at how we can apply Agile principles and Agile tools to the area of human resources. Let's dig in. So let's start off with a few Agile principles. There are many Agile principles, but I've chosen just four that I think will be really useful and really relevant to the scenario that we're looking at today. First of all, from the Agile Manifesto, we have Kaizen, which simply means continuous improvement. And then we have simplicity, which means just doing the work that needs to be done and not loads of other things. From the area of Kanban, we'll come on to that later, we have visualization, which just means making your work visible. And then lastly, limiting your work in progress. These are the guiding principles we're going to be looking at today, and I'll reference these as we go through the process. So the tool we're going to be using today is a Kanban board, and that's what we're looking at right now in front of us. And I should say Kanban is an Agile framework. It's in some ways similar to Scrum, but there are no sprints. And what this means is that it's more about a continuous flow. So work items are continuously coming in, we're working on them within the team, getting them into done state, and then on to the next item. So it's all about managing the flow. So let's have a look at this board. It's a very simple Kanban board, and we have four columns. So over on the left, we have our backlog, and this is my to-do list. In today's scenario, we're looking at recruitment of a business analyst. And these are the items that I think we need to do in order to recruit this person. Everything's sitting here in the backlog at the moment. As we start working on them, we'll move them into the in progress column, then into in review, and then finally into done. So that's the way the board works. If you look here, I can click on this item to add another column. And often you do see Kanban boards with more and more columns, but as we know, one of our guiding principles is keeping things simple. So we're just going to stick with this very simple Kanban board. Lastly, just to say, many organizations use a tool called Jira, which you've probably heard of. But for this demo, I'm using a tool called Trello, which is a very lightweight board, very simple to set up and to get going with. So that's what we're using today. That is the Agile tool we'll be working with. So we've seen the way the board works and the board is set up. Let's now have a look at the cards or the work items here on the board. And as mentioned, they're all sitting in the backlog, which is the to-do list, if you like. And they're all items around recruiting a new business analyst. Let's have a look at one of these cards. So I'm going to click on this one, which is review CVs and create a shortlist. So opening this one, the first thing that we can see is there is a label on this. I added a label to all of these cards, actually. So what I did was to create a new label. It's color-coded and it has the text wording, Biz Analyst 2026. You can use whatever color coding you like and whatever text you like. So that's been applied to all of these work items here for this particular role. Some other things here, you can attach something, you could add a spreadsheet or whatever you want. In members here, you can assign this. I can assign it to myself or somebody else in my team. And there's a few other features here, which I won't go into. It's just cover the basics. So as you can see now, all these cards have been color-coded in the blue color, so they are all related to the business analyst recruitment. That's great, and we need to be a little bit disciplined about that, because over on the top right here, we have a filter, and if I look at this, we are currently filtered on Business Analyst 2026. So that's great, but you will also notice there is a filter for Java developer. So In parallel with recruiting a business analyst, there's another team recruiting a Java developer. So I just take off business analyst and put the filter on for Java developer. We can see that in fact we have 3 cards here for the Java development recruiter. So I'm going to just take that back off again now and go back to where we were, which is the business analyst filter. There we go. So these are the cards, and that's the labels that we use, and that is the filter. So we've looked at the cards. Now let's have a look at the flow. So first of all, in our backlog, we've got to make sure that this is fairly well ordered. And I've just noticed down here, we have confirm the budget for the role. Now I want to put that at the top. I want to make sure I do that first. That's my first priority, to make sure we've actually got funding for this before we go on and start any recruitment work. So then after that, it all looks fairly good. Job spec, advertise, CVs, 2 rounds of interviews, and I'm going to put job offer just after the 2nd round of interviews. So I know it's very basic, it's a simplified workflow, but I'm sure this will be fine to get the message across. So now we've got our backlog in order, we can start work. So let's say we start work on confirming the budget. So we go out and talk to whoever we need to talk to, find out where the budget is coming from. That goes into in progress. And then maybe we just need the final okay from somebody, so that goes into review. So in parallel, I might want to work on the job spec, maybe talk to the hiring manager, see what the actual specifications are for this job role, and then that may go into a final review here. Let's say the budget is now confirmed. So we're going to advertise this. So we start work on our advertising campaign. That can go into review, and then we can start reviewing CVs as they come in. So as you can see, we have a nice flow from the backlog from left to right, and we end up with things getting into the done column. Now, let's take a scenario where we're trying to do too much work at once. So we're reviewing the CVs, and let's say we decide, oh, we'll start round 1 of interviews in parallel, and oh, let's do round 2 in parallel as well. Now, at a glance, we can see that we've got too much work in progress, and as you will remember, that's one of our guiding principles, to avoid too much work in progress. So this is starting to look cluttered, and it's starting to look confusing. So we need to sort this out. So I'm putting round 2 interviews back into the backlog, and let's say the CVs is now done, or that's in review. We can put that into done state as well. So this looks a little bit more healthy now. So limit the work in progress, make sure you don't take on too much simultaneously, and having everything visual. This was one of the other principles, visualizing the work. It jumps out if we're trying to do too much work in progress. So now on the board, we are at the end of our recruitment process for this business analyst, and all the cards are now in done state, the job offer is out there, and so on. There's one last card we need to have a look at, which is Kaizen. Let's dig into that. As you will remember, Kaizen is about continuous improvement. And so at the end of our recruitment process, we can just reflect a little bit, have a discussion within the team, and look at these 3 items on the board there. What went well, what could have been better, and how we're going to do things differently next time. And the outcome of that discussion can be recorded right there in the card. The great thing about doing a bit of Kaizen at the end of each recruitment process is that we will learn from any mistakes that we've made. We won't keep making the same mistakes over and over, and our recruitment process will continually improve as we go into the future. So that would wrap it up. That would be the final thing we would do, a little bit of Kaizen. So that's about it for today. We've seen how we can apply some Agile principles and Agile tools to the area of human resources. If you like what you've heard, we have at Agile Horizons a full half-day course on applying Agile to human resources. And obviously we have a lot more time there to go into other workflows, to go into more detail, and to have some discussions and working together on some processes. Lastly, if any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'll do my best to reply, and a big thank you for watching.